Nigerian Union of Journalists (NUJ) Rivers State Council has issued a 14-day ultimatum to the Rivers State Police Command to tender an unreserved public apology over the assault on 5 journalists during a peaceful protest in Port Harcourt, or risks its statewide media blackout. In a statement jointly signed by the Council Chairman, Comrade Paul Bazia, and Secretary Dr. Ijoma Tobiosa, the NUJ condemned the action of police officers involved, demanding their immediate identification and prosecution. The NUJ, as a watchdog of society, will not sit idly by while media practitioners are subjected to barbarism and brutality. Enough is enough, the statement warned, noting that any further attack on journalists in the state would be vehemently resisted. The union described the incident as unprovoked, barbaric and inhumane, saying it amounted to a gross violation of the rights of the affected journalists. The journalists were tear-gassed while covering the protest, with Operum beaten, detained by security operatives. Contrary to the above statement, the Rivers State Police Command has denied reports that its officers opened fire or used tear gas to disperse protesters of the Take It Back movement during a demonstration held on Monday. However, contrary to the police account, journalists who covered the protest described it as a peaceful demonstration prior to the reported disruption by the law enforcement officers. Some journalists were reportedly injured while fleeing the scene after police fired tear gas and, according to some protesters, live bullets. Please, Mr. Onem, did I call you a barrister from the beginning? Maybe that was a mistake I made. I just remembered. Yes, I did. I'm sorry about that. Thank you. So thank you for correcting me. Well, that was actually a mistake. I would love to get your thoughts on this. I'm sure you followed the whole protest, even though you probably wouldn't have been there because of probably whatever personal reasons. You followed the whole situation because some people said they were on live broadcast of the protest, because some people were on live, recording the whole situation at the time where it was peaceful until they were tear gassed, including journalists. And we know the position of journalists. We're actually not part of the protest. Our work is to show the world what's actually happening and keep people informed of any demonstration happening around them, and police assault on journalists at that time. I just really don't know how to put it, but NUJ has demanded apology from this. But the police, on the other hand, they have denied the accusation that they did not tear gas any individual. Please, I want to get your thoughts on this.
Well, first, I want to appreciate him once again for the privilege, you've given to me so far. We also want to appreciate the management of this great organization for always, amplifying things that are happening in our society, most especially things that has to do with the fundamental human rights. Nigeria, as it is operating what we call democracy.
Okay.
And so every single individual has right to protest. We have the fundamental right to express our grievances through a peaceful demonstration. And so I don't see any reason why if people are protesting peacefully, then police who are saddled with the responsibility of protecting lives and properties will be the one to either take life or cause injury when there is a peaceful protest. It is quite unfortunate, and this is just few among what has been happening, most especially to protesters in this country. You can also recall in 2020, precisely, when the people were protesting against, I think it was a NSAS protest then, when several lives were lost, to an extent that up to date, some families could not find their loved ones and all of that. Well, it's quite unfortunate, and our police officers should take it easy when things like this are going on. You know, they should take it easy. Instead of firing live ammunition, it's better you either use a rubber.
Well, before you become violent on individuals, I'm sure it has to call to a point where the protest has turned into a violent situation. But whereas it is a peaceful one, is there any need to want to harass? Rightly, I feel the police are supposed to be there to make sure that there is no need for altercation between protesters, or let's say there's an opposition against the protest. You know, such situations, you know, when people gather there's always a situation where something could come up. That should just be the duty of the police. Like you stated, they are meant to protect lives and property, but destroying it, which is contrary to that, is something we really don't understand.
That is why I said some of our police officers are too overzealous. Like, I happened to follow up with what happened on that fateful day, though I wasn't on ground there. But there were live, you know, videos all over, you know, the social media. And we saw people running helter skelter. We also heard a gunshot at the background, you know, and people were just running for their life. I saw Comrade Solomon Lenu, who happens to be the former PRO of civil society organization, Rivers State Civil Society Organization, shouting, they are shooting at us, they are shooting at us. Those things were not necessary. And similar thing also happened in Abuja.
Yes.
It wasn't necessary.
Yeah.
It wasn't necessary, to an extent that some persons were injured. Now, for the police spokesperson to begin to deny this, is another thing that I don't really understand. As a person, I don't really understand it. Police would commit a crime, they will victimize, brutalize people, but you will see them coming to deny it, even when it is clear, even when it is visible to the blind that yes, they committed such an offense. They will come out to deny. Such thing is not what we want in Rivers State. It is not, because what they are doing now can trigger crisis. It can trigger a reprisal attack, that when you see a policeman, you will begin to be, you get angry over nothing, because of what you feel that they are doing. So I want to say that the police institution, the police IG, should call his people to order. What these people are doing, the protest they embark on, is a kind of call for a good Nigeria. Nobody can tell me today that he's not feeling the pains, the economic pains, the economic hardship of this country, the level of unemployment in this country, the way and manner our government institution is deteriorating on a daily basis. And if people in their magnanimity said, let us protest and call the government to order and ask the government to reject some certain things that they feel, because it was the protest, the purpose of the protest was for what? Cybercrime, right?
Yes.
And the one of Rivers State,
yes,
they said there is need for a change of government, because what we are seeing in Rivers State is a link to the constitution. It is unconstitutional
that an elected governor will be suspended by an elected president. It's not unconstitutional. So if few persons felt that their right is being infringed on, and they decided to go for a protest, then police officers who are supposed to protect them will be the one to kill them. Then that is bad. It's bad. And so I support the NUJ for coming up with such a stand. That is my take on this issue.
Okay. Thank you, Comrade Onem. Literally, nobody. We've actually been through all of this issue of police assaults over time, and police brutality over time. Or actually, that was one of the reasons why the NSAS issue came up. It wasn't just basically about NSAS situation. It was about the reform from the police, the SAS, the whole assault on individuals. It still happens. You see viral videos all over the internet, oftentimes when innocent individuals are being assaulted. I've actually been a victim at some time, and it's not something we want to sweep under the carpet and let it pass by. So we just hope that the public, of course, we will not say the River State government, there's a sole administrator that's into it, and the IG, like you stated, will look into it and know how this can be sorted out, because according to the story, the protest at the time was a peaceful one, and it was just a normal demonstration of
let me shock you. From the investigation I made, the people that went for that protest were few. Now, what the police said is that they saw some of them, some miscreant, collecting phones, snatching phones, destroying things. That was what I heard Chris Ringekoko.
So what did the journalists do that they had to be tear gas in the incident?
Maybe I wouldn't know much.
That has to be, if they said the reason why they had to open fire on the in the space was because they saw, in quotes, people snatching phones from individuals. What did the journalists that were covering the event actually do?
That is what I don't know. Maybe they felt that they want to amplify, the protests or all of that. I don't know. But from what I heard, Charles Operum, which happens to be the
he was actually detained.
Yes, Charles Operum, who happened that even when he was telling them that he's a journalist, they were forcing him, to enter their vehicle. He said no. They collected his phone. He said no, they shouldn't do that, knowing fully well that yes, this man is a journalist. So me, I see it as a deliberate act. They did it deliberately.
Is it that I don't want to say the country as a whole. Is it that some part of this country, well, Nigeria at the point has come to a point where there's this act of I have the right of my own, or let's say lawlessness. We're not going to sugarcoat the situation here. Have we gone to that point that because in senior crimes, developed countries, we know that most of this police, it's police assault is everywhere, but there's certain acts of retrieve, there's a certain acts of restriction against assaulting an individual. In this kind of situation where you did not catch an individual with any weapon, any firearm, there was no act of violence, but you assaulted this individual and then arrested, beats the individual, a journalist for that matter. Have we gotten to that point that the law is no longer taking its course?
You've just said it all. We are not living in a lawless country where the fundamental rights of the people are always abused, right? Today, a policeman can kill a citizen of this country and nobody will cough. What gave them that temerity, that infantry to perpetrate such acts? It's because they know that nothing is working in this country. You can't do this in US. You will see people coming up, taking up that case. But in Nigeria, because our institutions are not working, there is lawlessness in this country. There is an abuse of fundamental human rights of the citizen, knowing fully well that if they commit or perpetrate such acts, nothing is going to happen. They'll do it. That is the way I feel. Today, where I read about one of the topic that is there, how a young boy was tortured to death. Is it supposed to be so? There are ways to extract, statements during an investigation. You know that?
Yes.
There are ways, and not by torturing someone to death. So they can easily do this because they believe that even if they torture you to death, nothing will happen. Like what happened here. I don't think it can happen in US. Yes, it may happen, but you will see people coming up, taking up the case, and at the end of the day, you see that such victim will have justice. But in Nigeria, there is no justice. I'm telling you the truth. In Nigeria, if a policeman kill you today, that's all. You kill you and nothing will happen, except maybe you are in the political class, or you have somebody up there who can push for you. That is the way I see. If I don't see any reason why police officers will come and begin to shoot a protester, it is bad, and it's something that people should condemn.
Thank you.